I'm about to do. And that's universal. All people, all places, at all times. So whatever your dilemma is, it's really quick. All you have to do is you have to think to yourself, would I want everyone to do what I'm about to do? Now, I need to warn you, this is only for ethical dilemmas. This isn't when you go to Baskin-Robbins and you're thinking, what flavor of ice cream should I get? And you're thinking, man, I could really go for some pralines and cream. Would I want all people in all places, all times, to eat pralines and cream? Well, of course not. But that's not an ethical dilemma. That's just a matter of taste. And maybe that's something I need to point out about Kant. Kant was looking for a universal ethical theory that applies to all people in all places at all times. But he also recognized there's non-ethical or non-moral decisions which he would say are a matter of taste. But certain things are universal for Kant. Things like beauty. Would you guys agree with that? My little postmodern relativist class? Let's do a quick poll. Is beauty absolute or relative? How many believe beauty is in the eye of the beholder? And how many of you believe beauty is absolute? The blessed. See what I was telling you about the majority? The majority is almost always wrong, just as in this case. Probably 80% of you thought beauty was relative, where only 3 of you thought it was absolute, and beauty is absolute. I'm sorry.
What kind of beauty are we taking right now?
True beauty. What's that?
Why is it absolute?
Because there's a standard for the beautiful. How about if I change the question? For you evangelicals, is truth relative or absolute? How many of you believe truth is relative? See, it's so twisted. How many of you believe truth is absolute? Okay, over 80% of you, and then 20% don't want to say. I don't know why. It's you're not going to be punished. Okay. Why the difference? Don't you guys know that beauty equals truth?
I think truth equals beauty.
Are you making
Well, it works the same, doesn't it? I'm not real good at math, but I'm pretty sure you can put them on either side of the equal signs. Okay. Kant is looking for this. Now, he's not saying, for example, if you were reasoning correctly, you should be able to listen to a beautiful piece of music, like, I don't know, a concerto by Bach or something like that. And you should be able to say, wow, that is beautiful music. Kant's not saying you have to like it, but he's saying if you can't recognize that that's a beautiful piece of music, there is something wrong with your thinking. Maybe something is wrong with your ears, but it probably has something to do with your mind. There's something wrong with the way you think. Now, I personally love Bob Dylan. And I would never claim that Bob Dylan's music is more beautiful than Bach's. But my personal taste is to listen to Bob Dylan. But because my reason is sound and I can think clearly and correctly, I know that Bach produces beautiful music, more beautiful than Bob Dylan. Michelangelo's sculpture of David, the 17-foot freestanding nude sculpture from the Renaissance, who outdid the Greeks at idealism in marble. I mean, if you look at that piece of marble and you cannot see that that's a beautiful piece of sculpture, you are not reasoning correctly. It doesn't mean you want a foot-high copy on your coffee table at home or a 3-foot one in your garden. I mean, it may be too gaudy, you may not go with your decor, all these sorts of factors. But if you can't recognize that that was genius and a masterful work of sculpture, then Kant would say you're not thinking correctly. And he would say the same thing with truth or with reason. You should be able to have a consensus of what is the good, what is the true, what is the beautiful. taste is fine, but remember, that's what it is, and many of you have really lowbrow-based taste, and don't let that affect your ethical decisions. We're going to try to shoot for a little bit higher standard, okay? So categorical imperative. When you get in an ethical dilemma, you're going to ask yourself, would I want all people in all places at all times to do what I'm about to do? And we can plug in a lot of contemporary issues. Let's start with abortion. You're struggling, should I get this abortion or not? You may have all sorts of personal reasons why an abortion would be good for you, but once you universalize the issue, would I want all people in all places at all times who are having a difficult time deciding whether or not to keep this child? It could bring shame to their family. It could be an economic hardship. It could take away a lot of my personal freedoms. I'm just not ready. Well, those are good individual reasons maybe, but once you make it a universal issue, the answer is obviously going to be no. Yes, Andrew?
Is there a hierarchy of beliefs with this ethical theory? Like in a situation where sometimes you might want everyone to do it, but in the same situation with maybe a slightly altered circumstance, you might not want everyone to do it?
Do you have an example, or do you want to think of one?
You could go with one of the pregnancy ones. I haven't thought it all the way through, but like if the baby was going to kill the mother if born, but if it was born, it'd be healthy.
That the mother would die?
Right, that the mother would die.
Okay, so let's plug it in. Would I want all people in all places, all times, who are having a difficult pregnancy that would kill the mother, yet the baby would survive? Would I want to proceed with the pregnancy, or would I want to terminate the pregnancy to save the mother? Is that how you want to word it? Okay. Do you think there's a universal answer for that, or do you think it would be up for grabs?
I think it could be situational.
How about would I want all people in all places, all times who could save their wife, who was in a difficult pregnancy, at the expense of the unborn child, to do it? I don't know. I think you could get a universal answer for that.
So then what if, like, the mother was a criminal and the parents, like, the dad just, like, there's different, were you talking about different spins that you could put on that situation? Is it, like, really specific in that you have to take the situation by this?
This works extremely well for broad categories. But you two are very clever because you're already beginning to see the cracks in this Kantian theory. Is the more specific the issue gets, it's like, how do you keep it from being subjective or situational or a matter of taste? Okay, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let's do a couple more broad strokes to make sure you get this in case you pull this up on your midterm. Okay, so you're hiding Jews in your attic. The Nazis come to the door. Kant answers the door, and the Nazis ask him, "Are you hiding any Jews inside?" What would Kant say or do? Well, but no would be a lie, right?
Yeah, but he would want people to do that in all places at all times. Say no to save the lives of more people.
I don't know, because if you ask the question, would I want all people in all places at all times who are in a difficult situation to lie if they think it will help them get out of it, it would make honesty meaningless. Truth would become a thing of the past, because we can always rationalize that it might be good to lie.
Can you put a condition on it and say that it's only good to lie when it's saving the lives of others? Or could Kant put a condition on it?
I don't think Kant wants those kind of conditions, because that takes away the universality of it. That turns it into